Welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel, everyone. This is Rich making another video on XRP today. As usual, we're going to talk about XRP today. So I hope everyone is having a fantastic day wherever they are in the world. I must begin by mentioning this from Crypto Sensei. By the way, I still fully expect Blackrock to register for Spot Solana and XRP ETFs, said Nate Garatti, president of the ETF shop. Dealing with other leading crypto asset ETF categories to rivals would be illogical for a leader in both spot Bitcoin and ETFs associated. I also think Blackrock will apply for an exchange-traded fund ETF that tracks index-based crypto assets. Furthermore, BlackRock's lack of an XRP ETF is absurd. Is it really your belief that they will overlook such a chance? Examine the XRP demand. However, are they covertly purchasing XRP before an ETF? Cowboy. Crypto is the source of this. The campaign to help Trident raise $500 million, 0 cents, for their XRP treasury appears to be led by a company named Chain Securities LLC. Maturity Fintech Holding is the parent company of Chain Securities. Investors in the parent business of Maturity include BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, UBS Group, AG Millennium Management, Cube Research and Technologies, and Point72 Asia. This is where you can see it. Growing institutional adoption is highlighted by Maturity Fintech Holdings, EINC. The business featured fresh investments made by significant institutional investors such as Millennium Management, BlackRock, and others. So are they using Trident and this XRP treasury to covertly acquire XRP? Now let's see where this goes. However, I have no doubt that this is taking place in the background. The RLSD upgrade is amazing. RLSD 12 million was issued. RLSD Treasury, growing the ecosystem of Ripple and possibly promoting the use of XRP. You know, the RLSD is now gaining a lot of momentum everywhere it goes. It actually ties itself in. Announcements show it happening all the time. Additionally, RLUSD and USDC might be viewed as the future of digital currencies, but pay attention to Monica Long as she discusses the future and how stablecoins and CBDCs will coexist. Stablecoins and CBDCs are what I think the future holds. Chris Larsen was one of the co-founders of Ripple. Thus, I think there will be borrowing. He currently serves as our executive chairman, but even when I first started working for the company, I recall him discussing the impending Cambrian explosion of diverse asset classes and the tokenization of various forms of wealth. Governments, central banks, and CBDCs will never give up control over money. That seems reasonable to me. Additionally, I believe that a CBDC would be a sensible digital system for a certain nation. The success of PIX in Brazil or UPI in India, in my opinion, has changed the game for both those nations and their citizens. Although it's clear that Apple's example with this CBDC isn't precisely an apples to apples comparison, I'm not sure if that's a good starting point for mapping. It's going to take a while, but the problem is that we worked on several CBDC initiatives with various central banks, and they are, forward-thinking and have some really sharp brains. In terms of which nations will follow the roadmap first, I'm not precisely sure what it looks like. Well, but it is my opinion that the digital euro will be introduced first, followed soon by the digital pound. After that, I believe that many of these smaller nations will also launch their CBDCs. However, I don't think they'll gain traction in the beginning. I believe it will take some time before digital currency issued by central banks truly takes off. Additionally, I believe that in order for a CBDC to be accepted in many locations, incentives will be necessary. However, a stablecoin and a CBDC are interchangeable, and many people are unaware that the only distinction between a stable coin like RLUSD and a digital currency issued by a central bank is who issues it. It's a CBDC. If the Fed issues it, it is a stablecoin if it is issued by Ripple. They tried a full CBDC in this crisis. As Chad Stonegrabber noted in the previous one, the stablecoin law will be passed. Congress attempted to enact the Banking for All Act, which would have established a US CBDC covertly back in 2020. Additionally, the Postal Service would have served as the main hubs and financial institutions. In the final moments before the vote, they retracted it. Now, I believe that things were going extremely quickly back then. Back then, Steve Mnuchin was the one who talked the most about a digital dollar. They had to slow it down, I believe. That, in my opinion, was the initial motivation behind the Ripple SEC case in the US. They needed to slow down Ripple. Take a look at how quickly Ripple expanded globally. Everywhere else in the world, they were out there installing all the railroads. I now believe that we are on the verge of entering the digital dollar once more. President Trump will make it happen. It will be the stablecoin for the digital dollar. Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, offers insights in a recent eToro interview. It should have happened long ago, yet everyone is talking about USDC joining the XRP ledger today. Listen to what Brad has to say. We will use our own products, of course. Here is a brief history of this. Depending on the currency pairings we're working with and which customers we're supporting, Ripple has been using stablecoins for years, including US dollar stablecoins in specific corridors. To be honest, it has occasionally been more effective. As a result, we have utilized Tether in specific situations. USDC has been utilized. Actually, we were once in charge of minting 20% of all USDC. Thus, 20% of all USDC was being minting by Ripple. The XRP ledger will now be used by USDC. That was a natural outcome. Furthermore, it's possible that Ripple will eventually acquire Circle nonetheless. That is still a possibility. This fact right here is one item that has disappeared throughout time. Listen to the CEOs of banks. They anticipate what will happen. As a result, more than 1,600 coins employ blockchain technology today. We've all most likely heard of Bitcoin, and some of us have heard of Ethereum. The cryptocurrency known as XRP or Ripple is being used by practically all lanes in Japan. There are others as well. As a result, all Japanese banks are beginning to use XRP. And for a while, this was sort of forgotten about. It was, I believe, because everyone's attention was on the strategic reserve. They were concentrating on XRP's price boosting, but this will still occur. And after that, I believe it will be our first glimpse at how the price of XRP may be impacted by its widespread use. Additionally, they continue to intend for it to occur in 2025. The clones attack with the Bitcoin treasury model. Coinbase raises concerns about risk, according to Brian Armstrong on the news of the mainstream media. Bitcoin will become the global reserve currency. The articles look like this after that. The chief analyst at Coinbase warned Thursday that the growing reliance of publicly traded corporations on Bitcoin may spell doom for the whole cryptocurrency sector should the price of Bitcoin drop. All of us are aware that prices will rise and then fall. Before Bitcoin crashes, it has one more significant upswing. In order to repay investors, a large number of businesses that have bought billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin would probably need to sell off the tokens at once, which would cause a market-wide sell-off. Although it classifies them as systemic, Coinbase stated that it is optimistic about Bitcoin's upward trajectory despite this risk. It will take place. All you want to do is get out there and promote it in the press outlets. However, this cycle will go similarly to the others. After a period of rising prices, Bitcoin crashes. It won't be any different here. The primary distinction is that many individuals now link Bitcoin to their retirement. Many businesses currently own Bitcoin, some of them through exchange-traded funds, ETFs. However, if the crash starts, either that money will change into something with real-world worth or a real-world use case, or it will disappear. In the hopes that the next 4-year cycle occurs, it will be stuck in Bitcoin for another 4 years. To be honest, I believe the 4-year cycle will end once utility occupies this space. These run-ups will not continue as they are presently. On the contrary, cryptocurrencies linked to the new financial system will continue to rise. Bitcoin may eventually experience some upward momentum, but I don't think it will happen for another 4 years. Furthermore, the cycle will not be like what we are about to see, because you cannot have something that is based on hype and speculation in a world where regulations are in place, institutional adoption is taking place, mass adoption is occurring, and people are using something like XRP without even realizing it. They are entering and doing a routine transaction in the same manner that they do now. The fact that events are occurring in real time is the only distinction. The fees are nearly gone, and everything happens in a couple of seconds. But an XRP is working in the background to make it happen. The institution